any announcements to begin with? Did everybody get the minutes and read them? If not, do you want a few minutes to look over them? Anybody find anything amiss? If not,
Move to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. We've got lots of good updates. Some of them won't have changed too much from our last meeting, but we have some new ones and some very exciting possibilities. So I'll turn it over to Cindy Harrison.
Good morning. Thanks, everybody, for coming out in the rain. Don't have a lot of new business, but as Ann mentioned, we do have a couple of new projects or possible new projects that I wanted to let you know about. Bear with me here while I kind of get set up. Two possible new Greenways segments as a result of some developments that are happening. So let me kind of run y'all through this. Again, I apologize for the quality of that screen. This is, I can't see what I'm doing over here. It's kind of a two-way street, but we can turn it off and see. Yeah, I just can't read what I've got to read, but that's okay. It's fine. Yeah, I can do it. Thank you. This is a project that, we've had on our plate or on our list for a while. It's the Richland Creek Greenway segment that would connect the White Bridge Road, the old White Bridge trailhead behind Publix off of West End and, Harding. That would connect over to St. Thomas Hospital and then at some point cross the creek and the railroad and connect into the existing Richland Creek Greenway. So there is a project, an SP project that was approved some time back and had never really been developed, and looks like that it may be moving forward, and with that would come a new segment of Greenway. And what you're seeing here is not from that project. I don't have those drawings to share today. This is one of our early concepts for how that Greenway would connect, but essentially it kind of shows you at the bottom, the White Bridge Road, see if I can get this pointer, trailhead, and then working across the development, I believe it's called Hardingtown, and then over to the St. Thomas campus. And this, of course, is the creek and the railroad here that, to make that connection to the rest of the Greenway would have to be crossed. But I just wanted to let you know about that. There was a meeting. It was not an official Metro public input meeting, but the developer did hold a meeting a couple of weeks ago to talk with folks about this in conjunction with St. Thomas. So that's an exciting project. Stay tuned. We'll be meeting with them as a department to get more details of exactly what and where and how this is going to be built. But happy to see that moving forward.
Cindy, can you maybe circle with the laser where the development that you were hearing?
Yeah, let me give you
Which
some.
road is West End and which is?
So this is Harding,
Harding, okay.
and this is White Bridge. The Lions Head condominium is over here, Mary, Queen of Angels, that complex is here, and of course the creek running here. So we have an existing trailhead at the foot of the old White Bridge, and the trail runs over, there's a second trailhead, and then it continues down Richland Creek. So the development is in this space, and of course, St. Thomas West is here, and their parking garage in the back. And bear with me, I'm even having a hard time seeing my own slide here, but so how much of this exactly and how this, I think that part of their project involves the street, so what we're showing here is not indicative of what they're planning, but I just wanted to give you at least some context of how this greenway would tie in. So a great project to be able to tie in the commercial to the greenway, the hospital, of course, with the remainder of the Richland Creek Greenway.
And also in the H.G. Hill Realty development, they've got a lot of walking, biking, big streets on the plan. It looked really pretty, so that you hopefully could go from St. Thomas Hospital through there to that center with all its amenities. Right now you can't. There are lots of different buildings with each one has a parking lot with a fence around it, because you don't want someone from another business to park in your space. So they all have fences around them, and you cannot walk or drive through without going out to Harding Road. So that would be huge just for transportation from building to building and shopping to place to eat or St. Thomas. And also that big rectangle at the upper is Seton Hall, the parking garage. And again, right now, it's right across the road. Charles could probably throw a baseball in the creek from the back of that garage, but there's no way to get there. And when Clark was in the hospital, I tried many times to get on that greenway, and it involved getting in my car and driving all the way around, which was a good half hour or so. So that will be huge for all the people at St. Thomas, family, people who work there. So, I mean,
Have all the businesses bought into that concept?
some of them, yeah, I mean, enough. Some of them will still have, I think the Eye Institute will still have its own parking lot, and Truist Bank maybe will have its own, but the ones on close to Harding Road tended to have their own, but the ones in the back, were connected. So it's going to be part of his development from what's now Publix, that part, all the way to St. Thomas. It looked great, and we can't get right now the drawings, and of course it's theoretical, but something that we should be not just interested in, but when appropriate, advocate for.
Yeah, thank you. And in the middle of a commercial development, being able to conserve this open space is a win for the city, and being able to get people access to the greenway and to all of these different facilities.
So, again, will you kind of circle where they're at least conceptualizing green space would be?
And it's, it would be really helpful to have their plans here, but all along the creek, and I believe in this loop, and I maybe.
See that little enclosed area, it's really floodplain, but it's open space, and it will remain that way.
Yeah.
Great. And, yeah.
Thank
how
you.
Good for the patients and people who are in that area.
And family.
Okay, and then the second one was one I just learned about a few weeks ago. is a new juvenile justice center that's being planned off of Brick Church Pike. And Judge Galloway, who I have not met yet, but I'm sure that I will, is very involved in making sure that this project happens. And if you can see here, this is Page's Branch. It doesn't directly abut the property, which is shaded here in gray. The creek is a little bit further over, but they did reach out. This is a general services project, and they reached out to me a few weeks ago because Page's Branch is so close. And, it's part of our plan to connect it down to the Cumberland River Greenway, which at this point has not been developed yet. We do have an easement on a piece of property just across the street from the river. It's a small, so we're starting to build those easements. And the discussion with the General Services led with us and their team was, how can this greenway be incorporated into their plans? And again, another project that we love to see, right? A place where, there's court happening, it's a courthouse, it's a resident facility, it will have parking on site for those activities, and, kind of a high stress situation maybe for some people who are visiting there and having business there. So to be able to conserve open space for the public, not only the folks using this facility, but the general public to be able to come and utilize that, and also eventually to get down to the Cumberland River Greenway system is pretty exciting. We've just had the one initial discussion, so we'll continue to talk and see how that might evolve and be funded in the future. Any questions on that one? I don't have one yet. They did tell me when they plan to open the facility, Berkeley, I'll have to get back. I don't want to guess because I may say wrong. They're still developing their plans.
Right.
So I'll let you know on that, but not that far in the future. I mean, it's a real project.
Mhm.
So we're happy that they reached out to us about that. Okay, and then moving on to some of our existing projects. Of course, the Charlotte Corridor Railway Trail Greenway, we, as you know, have finished the initial phase of public engagement. The survey's wrapped up. We're continuing to speak with stakeholders. Some detailed meetings continue with the Railroad Authority, the Cheatham County Rail Authority, about how we can place this greenway and route this greenway in conjunction with the railroad, which will stay and will continue to have activity on it. But we did meet with them, yes, again, 2 weeks ago. We've got another meeting that we're trying to set up to get a little more detail done on that. And we're continuing to talk with property owners along the rail line where we know that we'll need easements and have a desire to have some open space. We do have the first easement on this going through council. It just passed part board, so it's headed to council. And we call it the Union Brick site. It's not what their development is called, but it's a multifamily development. It's a small easement really probably more for landscape and open space. The routing plan is almost draft finalized. We'll take that back out to the public. We'll take it to you all in the park board. We've got a few more things that we're trying to, work out with the railroad before we roll that out to the public. But pretty good idea of where all that will go and what might be a first phase on the project. So.
Where is that easement?
It is, I'm gonna look at my own drawing here before it's in this area. It's short and small, but it's a start. And, we won't have trail initially for sure on both sides of the track. It will cross over the track. There'll be crossing, but even on the portions where we won't have trail, we do want to have easements for either a future trail or in the interim for green space, so that the corridor is truly does feel like the park that it is, and that will allow the adjacent developments to be integrated into the whole project. I know y'all have heard a lot about that, so I don't want to continue to kind of tell you things that you already know, but if you have specific questions or if you think of any later, let me know, and I'll keep you updated. I hope by our next meeting that we will have already come to the public with the draft, and so we'll, for public input. Mm-hmm. It'll have all the, the community input that was received will all be documented, the planning process, the proposed route, and next steps. So once the draft is complete and we are able to, pursue the acquisitions that we need for right-of-way, we'll move into design of a first phase, and that will be identified in the draft also. We anticipate that design for a first phase is probably going to be 10 to 12 months, and then we would move into construction. All right. The Opry Mills connector, we have our easements. The final connection that goes to the mall, TDOT is doing their last review of our NEPA documents for that. It does connect over. So that project is still on go, and it doesn't move as fast as we would like, but it is moving forward to construction. And then we have two projects on the 440 Greenway, which are moving forward also in design. The Sevier Park to Gal Lane Park. Sorry, I've had a little issue here with this. Sevier Park, where the community center is, to Gal Lane Park, which, was constructed by TDOT and given to Metro Parks to manage, and then Browns Creek Park, which is already built. So we have three park projects, two with Greenway Trail on them. Sevier has walking trails, and what we're looking at is connecting all of that from Sevier over to Browns Creek, utilizing mostly in TDOT excess land. And our routing on that is almost finalized for at least the draft to take to the public. We're looking at a public meeting in January. Don't have the date set yet. It'll probably be the latter part of January at Sevier Community Center. And so we'll all hope that you can come out for that. We'll give you more details as we get those dates set up. But that one is moving right along.
Metro Parks, or does TDOT still own it?
TDOT will own the land. They'll continue to own their excess land, and we'll hold a license agreement like we have on the first phase. And that allows us to install the Greenway and maintain it, and gives public access. That's part of what we're doing now. We had started this project before the interstate improvements, and we had to stop at their request to let them get that project done. And we had submitted our license agreement application. It had been approved, or recommended by the Excess Land Committee, but they didn't sign it because they had their project going on. So we'll have the community meeting to make sure that what we proposed as routing is suitable and approved by everyone. And then we'll take that final document. We'll tell TDOT, this is our plan. We've not changed it. We need to finalize the license agreement. That will go to Metro Parks Board and the council, just like all of our easements and license agreements do.
Do those license agreements last for an extended period of time?
Usually 20 years. I think we have some that are 10. They're low stress. This is excess land that TDOT identified and came to us about and said, we would love for you all to build the Greenway that never was built as part of that original interstate project. And so, of course, we said yes, and, it lets us build a project without having to purchase land.
I see, thank
So it's a big savings for us, and I think it's a win for everyone. There's some tricky sections on some of it. The first phase was probably the one with the least complications. This one makes such great sense to connect all three of these parks and the community center to a neighborhood that continues to grow. And then the middle segment will probably be divided into two phases. So we have that, and then the other section, of course, is right outside of our door here at Parks. And sorry, I'm going to look at this in the way that I need to see it. Right now, right outside our door in the parking lot is the trailhead from phase one, and what we're looking at doing is extending that trail all the way down to the intersection of 31st and Park Plaza, and then connecting it into Centennial Park. Our Parks Planning Division is working on a phase 3 of the Centennial Park Master Plan, and so the trail will continue on into the park with a gate, kind of a gate feature at the intersection there, and tie into the features in the park. It also ties into the Complete Street, the 28th Avenue, 31st Avenue connector, Complete Street. And from there, will connect us over to the Rail with Greenway project. So a really meaningful, very short connection. Along with this project, we are incorporating lighting. All of our urban greenways downtown now, we have lighting. But when the 440 Greenway was constructed, that was not part of the project. So we're looking at the new section incorporating lighting, and then coming back and looking at the existing connection from Parks headquarters over to Elmington Park. There's some lighting that already exists for the street, and then we'll get with neighbors, and I think there's going to be a lot of community input on how we handle lighting in an urban or residential setting.
And can I just throw in, since we now have dark skies regulations
Yes.
that talk about, possibly dimming after dark or motion detectors or something, I know that adds costs, but I hope that in the community conversations, that's at least thrown out there as,
Yes.
if everyone says, I don't want a light shining in my back door, if we can
Yeah.
offer that as even a possible safety feature, I think, because to me, a light that comes on suddenly because somebody's there is more useful than a light that's there all the time,
Yeah.
enabling somebody to make mischief and,
I
late
think
at
we
night.
have a lot of options that we need to
Great.
look at in that way. And yes, I agree. We don't need to have lights on all night that don't need to be on. Maybe it needs to be more heavily lit during certain times, and then as night goes on, those get dimmed down. I think there are a lot of options.
Yeah,
for us to
technology
look at.
is much
Yeah.
more flexible these days, but
Yes.
there's a cost.
Here, it's easy to have access to electricity, as we start to look at whether we light some of the more rural greenways, if that's even appropriate, then we'll probably be looking at solar. Of course, we'll be looking at LED. So it's a first retrofit, I guess, of lighting. All the projects that we're doing on the Gulch and the Cumberland River, urban projects will be lit. If you've been down to the Gulch in the last day or so, you've noticed some street closings, and the Greenway behind Asurian is now open up to a point. You can't get under the Broadway Bridge any longer. That bridge is being rebuilt. It's a TDOT project, and they're working closely with our own NDOT and Parks because of the Greenway. This space under the bridge will be a trailhead, but we can't develop that until the bridge is rebuilt. So there are going to be intermittent closings of the Greenway up to a point, and then it's going to be closed when the bridge is actually being installed, demoed and installed. Right now, at least as of Tuesday, the cycle tracks on the street were open, sidewalks and cycle tracks. And Anna, you may want to even add more detail to that. It seems to be, our first notice about this, we got a little late from TDOT, and we've had some good conversations about giving us a heads up, and they're working with us to kind of week by week put out that information. Obviously, we don't want people, in danger being under the bridge. We've asked them to keep it open as far as they can safely behind Assyrian so that people can still get out and have that section to walk on. And then the detour routes that they've established, utilize the street and sidewalks through the gulch, including vehicular detours.
Push to be able to maximize the continued use.
Yeah, I mean,
through this
they've been
period.
very cooperative in that way. And we're expecting some routing signage to be put up, graphics to help communicate that, where people can go and how they can get about. The Cumberland River Greenway at Wharf Park, the master plan is proceeded to the point of just about being ready for a last public input meeting. Planning is studying, 88 Hermitage, the acquisition that we made that includes the School for the Blind, the historic African-American School for the Blind here. And I believe in January, I don't think a date is set yet, Planning and Parks will hold a public input meeting with the draft plans, master plan, and information about how 88 Hermitage will be utilized. We're looking at January. I don't think the exact date has been set yet. We're gonna have a lot of meetings in January, so keep your calendars open. And of course, the Greenway, terminates right now at the top of Rolling Mill Hill and is proposed to continue around the school and make its way down through the park. And eventually, as this property becomes developed, and that's planning and approvals for that are underway right now, the Greenway would continue on through that and ultimately down to Browns Creek, which is kind of off the map here.
And just to pick up on a presentation we had at the last meeting about Brookmead Park, there's a large encampment here that right now is not bothering anybody and nobody's mad about it, but it's home to a whole lot of people. So, I mean, that's going to be an issue that will need to be dealt with sensitively and correctly and effectively before any of that happens.
Most definitely. This project was coming to, and I've talked with you all about this a good bit, was going to planning this month. I believe it's been deferred to January, but we have seen some good movement in terms of what the developer is proposing with a vehicular bridge coming into the site. It's not shown on here, but it would come in over here. They've been discussing this with NDOT, and I think they've come to some agreements or a place where they can agree on what will happen there. That bridge would give us access to our property on this side to build out the park. Their developers also proposing to continue the Harpeth River Greenway where it ends right now, either under the railroad, either way, either through a tunnel here or a bridge along the riverbank and connect up to where the existing greenway is and the pedestrian bridge that exists now, along with 20 acres of open space that would be given to parks.
Do those developers give you a formal legal document to back up what they're promising?
They will. There's a couple of things that happen. It's an SP project, so there'll be, council approval of their rezoning project, and those have conditions, and we're able to, ask for what we need there, along with whatever what they're offering. And then, in this case, if the land is dedicated over to us, it would be deeded over to us. And, anything that wasn't in that would be covered in a conservation easement. So there'll be a document for that. And all of those have to go to park board and, council for approval. So their SP gives, and if I say this wrong, let me know, but, that codifies what they're conditioned to do as part of their approval. Then the actual acquisition is a separate process. So it's kind of twofold. So, and of course, the conservation agreement has all the stipulations.
Cindy, when you said the 20 acres, it's
Uh-huh.
you sell.
Yes.
And where on there is that?
Let me see if I
To
left
be-
off. This helps a little bit. What you see there is an early drawing that they showed us of their multifamily development. And it's basically floodplain that they can't build in anyway, but that we can use for recreation. And the railroad, of course, is here. This is the Harpeth River. The state owns this piece, and we have an agreement with the state to have trails on that. This is the old, it was HYSA soccer fields. I think it's Nashville football now. And of course, it's just a quick connection over to Highway 70 and the community center and the commercial development over there.
All those lines are not just the property lines, they are gonna have Greenway on them too, the ones over to the east
So the
side.
Greenway, let me back up, I think this is probably more helpful, even though it doesn't show the residential on it. The Greenway ends here right now, and it also exists from the soccer fields to this loop. So what they would be building would be the connection from here up to the pedestrian bridge as part of this project. And what isn't on here is also a connector from here over to the park property. That way, all that construction happens at one time. We're not coming back in and building that lower section. It needs to be designed with the multifamily project to work.
And so you would anticipate the gray line on the outside of the metro having Greenway?
Over here?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, I think we'll have a greenway that comes along the river. I would envision a loop system. Some of that probably will be hiking trails, and then some of it would be greenway, but it would continue on and connect back over. So there would be a loop around the bend.
That's great.
Yeah. This project we have called it the Stockyards. I don't think that's what it's officially called, but you have First Tennessee Park here, an existing greenway that cuts through what was previously owned by the state and has been bought by a developer. And the first phase for multifamily project is happening here. The greenway, again, runs through here. It also runs down First Avenue. So what they're proposing to do is enhance that greenway, widen it out to the 14 feet that we're trying to get in the urban setting, adding lighting, landscaping, and maintaining it for us in perpetuity. So the participation agreement for that, since Metro already owns the property, there's no easement needed, but a participation agreement that conditions what will happen with the greenway and how it will be maintained. Just passed park board, and it's on its way to council. And at some point in the future, of course, this portion will also be constructed, but the design for the greenway is being done with this project. It's a little bit different orientation, but the greenway runs here. This is that parcel that is part of phase 1, and the Cumberland River main greenway runs along here. Then Fair Park, I don't have any new information on that. I know that they've been working on budgeting and how to install the Greenway and do the requirements of their stormwater variance requirements here in the open space. I know we've all heard about the Bristol agreement. I don't have a whole lot of details on that, but the Greenway has been identified and was funded to extend from the existing portion on Phase 1 at Fair Park, where we have the soccer fields and the dog park, over to Nolensville Road. So that is still underway. And that's it, unless you all have questions. That's all I have today to update on. Our other projects that are being built by developers are continuing on.
Cindy, just so we can hear it officially, the one that we looked at next to the gulch that was gonna do the raised thing, is that on hold or gone permanently, or where are we on that one?
They came to me, to Parks, several months ago to let us know that that it is still a go. It had been on hold for a little while. And I saw some initial concepts, and we had some discussions, and they were going to go back and take a second look at how that might work. And I haven't seen those yet. So I assume that they're doing all their due diligence and planning and talking with all our different departments. I know there's a road involved, so they're talking with NDOT and planning and zoning requirements. So,
Okay.
Still on go.
Thanks for staying on top of that.
Yeah,
And a
that's-
sidewalk is not a greenway, so.
Exactly. Thank you. It is not. Okay. Amy, I will turn it over to you.
Good morning. Since we have last been together, or since I have last reported to the commission, we've got some just conceptual things to share with you. Obviously, as the Friends group, friend raising and fundraising, ta-da, guess what? This is fundraising month. So we have been very busy messaging our support base, and that is a lot of where our energy goes in December. But I want to share a few things that have been completed since last we talked. There have been 10 trailheads on the Stones River and Whites Creek Greenway that have been completely renovated and upgraded. So that, first, we are referring it to as our Trailhead Improvement Project. We are working with the Parks Department. We have had Park Board approval to hire contractors and go in and overhaul those sites. All the existing structures remained in place. It was literally taking materials that had been sitting out and weathered for 20 years plus. They all look brand spanking new right now. They have new graphics on them and hopefully feel much more welcoming and comfortable. The maps, the graphics, again, go visit, but it is the Whites Creek Greenway at Hartman Park. There are a total of 3 trailheads there that had the work, and then there were 7 along Stones River from the dam all the way to Wave Country. So that's exciting. Our board is reviewing and is very enthusiastic about continuing this work. We have had successful fundraising for the past several years in a general sense, or to our general fund, let's say. So these are funds that they are enthusiastic about allocating to continuing addressing what is essentially deferred maintenance, and then getting those, probably, we're looking at a second batch for 2023 that would include 20 trailheads. So ramping up the volume, the impact, and again, these are old trailheads. We're reviewing, and we'll report back once the board has approved, but they'll be geographically distributed, and it is based on the need, where the graphics are not even current anymore because Greenway sections have been added in the last 20 years, imagine that. So that's really exciting. So even though it's rainy and gloomy, it's probably the time your brain needs to be out on the greenways the most. So feel free to visit Stones River or Whites Creek and observe the new trailheads. Love to hear your feedback. Take a picture of yourself with it. Send it back to us. It's there and ready, waiting for you. We have had, even in the gloomy weather, we have had, and I say gloomy because it's gloomy today. It's been beautiful a couple of days. We've had pop-ups on the Greenway. We did one on the 440 Greenway last weekend, meeting the customers where they are. So getting information to them. It's amazing how many times people walk by, they have no idea there's a Greenway system beyond the one they're walking on. They may be new to Nashville, or they just may be very, tied to their routine. So they walk away with the maps of the trail system that is the Parks Trail system of 100 miles, and it really is building support from the base up. We had a function in mid-November called Greenways and IPAs, free, open to registered guests, and it was same thing. Crowd friend-raising with information that is very fundamental and basic. You all know it like the back of your hands, but there is a system. Here's where it is. Here are the projects that are being open to you all as the community. Here's how you come to meetings. If you sign up for our information, we can provide the information about all the community meetings, both, as Cindy alluded to, she has several that are teed up for early first quarter, and it's really important that the community come and share their voice. And so we take that really to heart, and we have to have a relationship with them or a way to reach them to get them there. So that's really fun. But the Greenways and IPAs sold out. We call it sold out. Registered, it was free. 100 folks in about 3 hours. So we know that people love to come talk about Greenways, and it was really fun. So we intend to do more of those more casual, conversational programming. Last early November, we participated in a very different kind of awareness marketing, let's say. Capital View put together a panel for Nashville Design Week. It was called Meet Me Outside. It was an event that they put on showcasing the benefit of Capital View as the project Boyle group downtown, right? It is adjacent to, and they were the partner with Frankie Pierce Park and the Gulch extension there. So that was a successful public-private partnership from several years ago. And this was an elevation, a showcase, and really messaging to the community, to the design community specifically, but we were on the panel helping them echo how important, especially in these dense, I'm looking at the picture behind Ann, dense urban environments, to have park space. And as a developer, they touted what it meant to their community. And obviously, we supporting the work of the Parks Department and the park and the Greenway, what it meant to the Gulch Greenway and the Gulch area to gain this partner, to have this space, and to have what the vision, the Parks Department's plans, executed and supported, and they also do the maintenance on those key pieces of land. I believe they have a couple of hundred apartments. It's a mixed-use development, and the developer shared that 60% of the residents have a dog. So folks who are downtown, want to have their pets in the Greenway. He said, there is no doubt they chose to live there. It basically benefit the development to have this amenity that's a public amenity, but right outside their door. So that's really special, and I think we will continue, obviously, to do those showcasings. Nothing like a little peer pressure to the development community. I think that is it in a nutshell. If anyone has any questions, we are probably wrapped up for the year. with our outreach for the month of December. I can't think of anything that we have on the calendar, but as Cindy alluded, January will be busy. We will support every community engagement opportunity that the Parks Department has, and certainly hope to bring in new faces, more faces, and variety of opinions.
Thank you.
So if I may ask, what does the pop-up look like?
I know, I wish I had been more organized and I could have showed you a slide, but I'll show you on my phone. What a pop-up is we have basically a table and a tent, and it's really bright, as you can imagine. It's got the Greenway logos, and we've got some giant maps that we do pull up, so it gives somebody a place to go look. And then we have materials. They can take the printed map with them. They can take the newsletter. Our past newsletter showcases all of the developing projects, so it kind of gives them a sense for what's coming. And then we staff it with volunteers and staff who can ask really some pretty basic questions, but talk to them about, what's out there for them, how to use it. So it's a tabling pop-up is fun. This past weekend, we caught the one non-rainy period on Saturday from like 9 to noon. And on the 440 Greenway, it was very busy. Everybody was just running out to get their walk-in. So it's really trying to pinpoint where folks that we might not see unless we go to them are. And we do them around, we've done them in Whites Creek, we've done it on the Cumberland River Greenway. We rotate around town just based on where we haven't been recently.
I like that concept. Is it at the beginning of the trail, or is it down somewhere?
Like
in
at
the
Whites
trail?
Creek, I know we don't go into the trail because, like at Whites Creek, we were at the trailhead because people can then take materials to their car.
Right.
440 is a little bit more urban. People jump on midstream. So we were in the middle of the 440 Greenway Trail.
Okay.
So it's wherever we feel like we can optimize, FaceTime.
Well, good.
It's fun. The questions you get are pretty amazing.
Great
and
idea. I love it.
Kendra, did you have anything you want to share from the mayor's office?
No, just excited to see all the incredible progress on building out the Greenways network, connecting our communities and expanding, mobility options is really, really good.
Well, we appreciate all the support we get from downtown, so thank you. Anna Dearman with NDOT.
I'll come up to the microphone just so y'all can hear. I have a few updates from NDOT. Anna Dearman, walking and biking manager at the Nashville Department of Transportation. So we've got a few things going on, and Cindy touched on some of the coordinating projects. Our 12th Avenue South Complete Street is really close to completion of construction. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to be able to pave the bike lanes between Wedgwood and Lawrence Avenue this year. That will probably be completed in spring 2023. But the islands, the planted islands, have been constructed all the way from where they start around Hawkins to Lawrence. And then the paving will be at least temporarily completed by the end of this year, which is in about a week and a half. And so, or about a couple of weeks. And so we're really excited to launch that project. The bike lanes are open and operational basically between Wedgwood and Division in the Gulch. And so that'll be a nice connection. Our Connect Downtown multimodal mobility study for downtown is still underway. There is an engagement period underway right now where you can weigh in on, kind of given fiscal constraints, given a constrained budget, how should we allocate funding to different multimodal priorities downtown? So transit, bikeways, curbside activities, and that kind of thing. So that's all available at connectdowntown.nashville.gov. And I can send these links to Cindy later. So that survey is still open. What we're calling State of Mobility report for downtown has been completed and is available on that website. That just kind of gives a snapshot of how transportation downtown is performing right now in the context of some of the other dynamics, housing and visitors and things like that, sort of by the numbers.
Anna, can I just ask one question over here? Does the Connect Downtown include discussion about reviving the circulator that we lost during COVID?
The circulator has come up several times. Some of the primary focus as it relates to transit and WeGo is they're actually helping fund and manage the study. So they're a key partner. We've been trying to identify what we're calling transit priority corridors downtown, where we may look to repurpose a driving lane for a transit lane or something like that, or otherwise kind of prioritize transit and optimize transit. And so that's one thing that folks are really discussing right now through the listening sessions that have been ongoing and through some of the engagement opportunities is, which corridor is this that should be prioritized? Is it 3rd or 4th? Is it 8th? Is it KVB, Korean Veterans Boulevard? And then what are the trade-offs associated with that? So another project that we just launched actually with a Urban Land Institute event last week is our multimodal traffic impact study guidelines update. So that's kind of a mouthful, but basically when we have development applications, we have standards for how they should look at the transportation system. And historically, our standards have not really prioritized active transportation and multimodal uses, and so we don't, necessarily require folks to analyze their potential connections to Greenways. That happens through coordination among our departments, and so this is really kind of formalizing some of that analysis so that we can partner with development projects to better deliver those safety and multimodal and active transportation improvements. Trade-offs, again, associated with that. We need to improve our processes at NDOT for reviewing projects, our coordination with planning and parks and other departments. And I know the development community would like to see us speed up that process, and so that's part of the conversation as well. We are launching a couple of bikeway projects this week. So yesterday we were over in the Nations talking about our Nations Neighborways bikeway project. These are mostly shared routes on streets with lower speeds and fewer people driving, where it feels more comfortable and safe to share the road. And that project will actually make a connection over to Richland Creek via Georgia. And so we're really excited about that opportunity. And then this afternoon, we're discussing some upgrades to the bikeway on Demumbrian Hill between the interstate or 14th Avenue and the Musica or the Music Row roundabout and Buddy Killen Circle. And so it's a very constrained corridor that's been in discussion for years and years, and a lot of our biking community are really interested in the outcomes here. And so we've come up with a concept with a budget to try and incorporate those upgrades and protect that bikeway and separate it so that it's not blocked so often and doesn't feel so unsafe. Other than that, NDOT launched a electric bicycle shared mobility program yesterday. This is a pilot. There is a crescent around downtown, but outside of downtown where this pilot is launched initially. The area is pretty small at this point, but may grow within this crescent. And this is working with the existing, what we call Shared Urban Mobility Device, or SUMD, contracts. And so that's with Lime, Bird, and Spin. These are the e-scooter companies that are already operating electric scooters in town, and they have now introduced some electric bicycles to their fleets. And we have installed bike racks within this crescent, and folks will be required to lock the bicycles to a rack. And so, unlike the existing B-Cycle bike share program, which is station-based, and there are specific stations where you insert the bike into a dock. There are no stations for these bicycles. However, they are required to be locked to an existing bike rack. So that program launched yesterday with 75 bikes, 25 from each provider, and we will evaluate and then modify that program as needed. So those are all of my updates. Are there any questions? I may not be able to answer them, but I will find the person who can.
I've got a question about the bike. So someone rents a bicycle or one for their family or whatever, and they pay in advance with a credit card?
Right. So you pay kind of in the moment.
Right.
And then I'm not exactly sure how the companies have structured it, but sometimes you can have a longer term rental, like a monthly, like a subscription almost, but you pay typically with a credit card at the moment that you want to use the bike. And that's via like an application on your phone.
And then when you return it to lock it to a station, how do they know you have? They do.
It's usually through the app on your phone, and you'll just indicate that you have left the vehicle.
And so what if someone just dumps it by the creek or whatever? Can they be charged hundreds of dollars more, or what's the deal?
Well, the companies, they're typically, I don't know the details, but both the companies and the individual users can be on the hook for that issue. And we communicate with the companies, and they go retrieve those vehicles that have been left in places where they're not allowed. And we do that with the scooters today. And so it will probably be a similar type system.
On a greenway, how do they drive on the greenway to pick them up? A bicycle, so 3.
I don't know. So the vehicles are geofenced so that they're not allowed to access, the scooters are not allowed to access parks. And so the vehicle physically stops moving and cannot enter that area.
And will the e-bikes be geofenced as well?
So we're still kind of working out, from what I understand, exactly how the geofencing on greenways will work or will not be incorporated. I'm not managing the e-bike program directly and have not been involved in the coordination between the e-bike program, and it sounds like there has been a lack of coordination on NDOT's side with parks so far, and so I'm not exactly sure how that will be handled. But we'll have ongoing conversations, it sounds like, because it sounds like there are some details that we still need to work out with parks.
But the program has started.
Yes, the pilot program has started, and it is just a pilot to be evaluated, so it's not a permanent program.
In which parks?
It's not in parks.
Well, in which greenways, or in where?
It's, right, the Crescent is, there's a website that I'll send you that shows the Crescent, but it's outside of downtown. It's in northwest and south Nashville, sort of in a little half circle around downtown. So yesterday, for example, when we launched the program, we were at Geodis Park in the Wedgwood, Houston neighborhood.
Okay.
So that's where the pilot is concentrated right now. That's District 17.
Right, and so you said 20, each company has 25.
Right, at this
And
time.
there's somewhere, where are some other places besides Geodis Park that they are?
So it's hard to describe sort of without a visual, and I'm sorry I don't have that visual, but again, it's kind of a half circle outside of the interstate loop that surrounds downtown, And so there are some locations, they also move, the bicycles move. And so users pick them up and take them, ride them to different places. And so they don't have like permanent stations where you can always expect to find the bike. They will be in a general area. That seems confusing. I'll share the link to the website with Cindy that we can share out later. And the website has a map of the area where the e-bikes will be allowed and the locations where we've installed bike racks. So they are welcome to lock the bike to some of the new bike racks that have been installed or existing bike racks. And so the bikes would be found in that area, if that makes sense.
Are there any non-e-bikes in this pilot?
No, these are all electric bikes, so there are no what we call pedal bikes.
Except that the e-bikes are pedaled, right? They're all pedaled.
Right, so they are what we call pedal assist, and so you can pedal without electric assistance or with electric assistance. Correct.
And so do I understand from the Crescent that there are not any greenways close to there? Is that what you're saying?
So I believe there are some greenways within the Crescent for sure. The bikes, as I understand it, and again, we're working out some of these details, and I've not been managing this directly, but from what I understand, the bikes are geo-fenced off of Parks property. And then it sounds like there is a little bit of gray area or decisions have not been made around if and how those would be geo-fenced off of the greenways themselves. So I would imagine that for a greenway that goes through a park, you would not be able to access that. So I don't believe you are able to take them into Centennial Park, for example. I could be wrong about that. And again, it sounds like.
I mean, I think it's probably good for the pilot that it is close to greenways so that you kind of see whether those don't work or, because I can imagine that you need to cross them. I don't know. Anyway, so.
Yeah, so they'll be allowed to be used on the streets as well. And the idea would be that they're using the bike lanes,
Yeah.
the on-street bike lanes.
Yeah.
And I would love more help on where, if anybody here knows where this Crescent is.
I'm really sorry I don't have a visual. It's
I'll
I'll send out the website link with that map, and I'll send the link directly to that map that shows this area. It sounds like there's a lot of interest in that. It might be helpful to have a presentation, maybe from the e-bike pilot team in the future. So we could certainly bring back more information on the e-bike pilot in the future and help answer some of your questions. I'm sorry that I don't have more detailed knowledge.
No, I'm sorry that there's not more communication, and actually I consider greenways parks because they are parks. They're linear parks. That's what we do. So that terminology differentiation will be confusing to other people, I'm sure, as well.
Sure, and I regret too that there wasn't better coordination with parks on this pilot. I can't take full responsibility for that, but I can certainly help broker that communication now.
But I think our last policy statement was we need more information, as you pointed out, Jeannie, and that we would do what we could to, and I'm interested to know sort of what your data gathering looks like. So as opposed to saying no e-bikes on Greenway, it was let's watch them and gather data on where concerns arise and what they're related to. So if this enables us to gather more data because somebody is being deliberate about how you gather data, that could be very helpful, I think, in that process. So if you could maybe talk a little bit more about what the data gathering looks like and who's doing that, and I mean, are there employees sitting watching from time to time, or surveys, or how will that information be gathered?
Yes, I think it'll be through a variety of avenues. I have not designed that data collection and evaluation process. My assumption would be that there is still opportunity to influence that, and to collaborate, given your specific interest, in sort of performance and in gathering findings from the experience with Greenways. And so I think it would be great to connect with that team and to help shape that, and we can certainly do that, as well as just providing more information in general. I know the website provides some very high-level information about the evaluation.
And excuse me, who in particular is in charge of the e-bike program or the Greenways bicycle program?
Right, so because this is currently through the Shared Urban Mobility Device Contract and Contractors, that's managed by our Transportation Licensing Commission. And so that contact is a person named Billy Fields at NDOT. And then previously, a person named TD Schlafer had been working with Billy on this pilot. And so it's being kind of managed by the TLC group at NDOT.
We've had a good relationship with Billy Fields in the past. We need to reconnect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, it's good to have you here, Anna, for a lot of this information. It's great.
Yeah, thank you all. Let me know if you have any other questions
Yeah,
I can
thanks
provide.
for sharing that. I'm sure if you send that link, I'll send it out to the commission so they can find that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna.
I did hear from Tom Palco with Metro Water Services. He had a conflict today. He said, if you all have any issues, to send them to me. I will say send them to Tom, but no, if there are any specific Greenway Metro Water Services questions, let me know and we'll get that to him. I think that's it. And as far as reports, I do have on your agenda next year's meetings. If you want me to go ahead and send out Outlook requests for those, I can. Get those on your calendar. I think, and you had a question about the February meeting?
As usual, I have a conflict. I'll be out of town for that February 8th meeting, and if that's problematic with anyone else, we could change it to the 22nd, or we can go ahead with it. What do you all want to do? I can send out you want to look at your calendars and see how it is? Or is that good with everybody else?
It's good with me, if you're just asking opinions, but I'm also happy to do a change if that's,
Anybody else have a preference? I would.
Is your alternate date the 22nd?
Mm-hmm.
That works for me.
Okay. I would love to change if that would be okay with you all. And we can contact the members who are not here.
Okay,
But
the 22nd.
we have such few meetings, and one hates to miss any of them. They're good. And Cindy, thank you for all your work, and Amy, thank you.
Thank you all. It's been a good year. It's been a busy year, and we've got lots, I think, that will start construction and some openings that are going to happen in 23. It's going to be exciting, so stay tuned. Thank you all so much for your service.
And I hope you can get some good candidates for some help.
Yes, so we are still actively trying to bring on new staff, and as everyone else seems to be experiencing, it's a struggle to find good candidates. So would love for you all to get the word out. I'll send you links to those posts, and that way you can share within your circles, organizations. It's a tough situation right now, bringing on new hires across the city, public and private, from what I understand. So we are looking for some good folks because we've got so much to do, and we've got to have staff to do it.
If we could even recruit somebody that we know that may not be looking for a job, but that would be interested in making Greenways better, making Nashville better.
Yep. I'll send a link to Metro's job posting site. I know Amy has put that out on social media. Did a great job. Actually got quite a few hits on that. I know that there have been applications turned in for some of those positions, and HR is still reviewing those, and I haven't seen them, so I can't tell you how many. But I know that we appreciate that.
We basically paid advertising on Facebook, which is obviously a network that in other cities. So we targeted Atlanta, Chattanooga, I believe Memphis. We will do so again at Cindy's direction, probably in December, second half of December. Go kind of push into Chicago, but I'm a sponge, so give us that direction, and then it'll be on our. And again, we're promoting the Metro positions. It's not being represented any differently, but and it's park-wide. There are several vacancies in the Parks Department, but obviously we have a keen interest in the Greenways position. So doing a general call in those other cities, these professional positions will likely, be the most attractive to somebody considering relocating to Nashville. It'll be in our e-blast this week. So December e-blast will have it, and we'll do some social based on whenever they close.
Yeah, we really appreciate that too.
Our last e-blast, it's interesting, we can look at some data as a private entity, and in our November e-blast, the parks positions post or piece of it got the most clicks of anything, and I don't think our content was boring. Our e-blasts have an open rate that exceeds almost 50% of the 6,000 people we email to. So, people see Greenways and they just gobble it up. So it was really cool, and the social media showed multiple shares. So people we didn't know were sharing it. Some university email, we can just tell the email who shared it. So it's really interesting. Obviously, this material is out in all the different platforms and Indeed and all the normal search engines. But share our stuff too. Y'all have different networks, and if somebody you know is even out of town and sees it. So if you do use social media, please feel free to go into ours and share it. That really does help.
Yeah, I mean, we've got to be creative in getting the word out right now because there's a lot of competition, so.
Yeah, before I forget this, one thing might be to get to the landscape architect schools around the Southeast, to their, job things, but mostly to their alumni networks. So we can get some.
Yes, because we have one entry-level position and the others are mid and senior levels, so it's a good idea.
And that was the logic with the cities that were picked. I think Atlanta has a pretty good
Thank you.
concentration.
Thank you all. Thank you. We'll adjourn.
Have a great holiday, everybody.
Thanks.
Great stuff going on.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.